This has got to be one of the most budget-friendly craft projects I've ever done. You're going to take one of these grocery sacks. Now, these are the vintage kind, and sometimes they're hard to find, but my local Aldi has them, as well as the Winco. Now, this is just a little trick. You can add some press and seal to put down underneath your project so that you don't get paint underneath. But I'm taking the plain side of this grocery sack and painting it white first. That's kind of my first step to creating this patriotic flag out of a grocery sack. So this is just some white chalk paint. You can use acrylic paint. It doesn't matter really what kind of paint you use since it is on a paper bag. Now, I couldn't decide whether or not to make the paint on the back, this first layer solid, or leave it kind of rough like I ended up doing. Because at first my thought was, I'm going to make it a solid white, but then I ended up just using it kind of a rough look like this. And you saw me use the ruler just really quickly, kind of eyeballing where I was going to leave the square. And then this was where we decided to add the red stripes, and I used some painter's tape here. And then I thought I would just paint in between each one with red. And then I started thinking, oh my goodness, which color does the flag start with? And then one of my amazing followers was like, it starts with red, and it ends with red. So I put back down the painter's tape in the middle and took off the bottom one instead. And we went with red on the bottom. Now, I didn't end up having enough room to end the top stripe with red as well, but I figured it's a craft, so what the hey, you know? And so I used the same 3 blue strips throughout the project, again, just removing every other one to roughly color in the stripes here. Now, of course, you can get creative. You can put a more solid color down as far as the coverage of the paint goes. Again, I decided to kind of go with this loose look, and I like the way that it turned out. So I ended up using a few more strips of painter's tape because I decided that it was going to go a little bit faster if I went ahead and had all the tape on there at once, so I could just paint all the stripes kind of at once. Just always trying to make it easier on myself. Right here is where I had to adjust a little bit because it was going a little bit crooked, as you saw there. Again, it is just supposed to be for fun. It's a budget-friendly craft. Kids could even do this with you. So it does not have to be per se perfect. But for this part, I ended up just eyeballing kind of how far over to do the stripes for the blue square for the flag. But again, you could do tape in all directions. You could measure it out perfectly. But for me, this was just supposed to be a quick and easy project for front door decor. So here's where I started realizing the top stripe was not going to be anatomically correct with it being red, but I was okay with that. Now, on the red stripes, I will tell you, I did end up doing 2 coats just to kind of make it a deeper red, because this was really inexpensive Dollar Tree acrylic craft paint. And in between each layer, I did hit it with the heat gun, and then I just removed the blue painter's tape to reveal my red and white stripes. I love the way they turned out. They are not perfect, but they are perfect to me. So that's what creating should be. Now, you have to be really careful because you are taping onto paper, so I had to be really careful with that last piece that was getting stuck there. Then I took some blue acrylic paint, again, also from the Dollar Tree, and just an artist brush, and added the blue square, and I just freehanded it, added it kind of as a solid color, and brought it all the way down to the lower stripes and all the way to the right to the other set of stripes. I did end up using 2 coats of the blue because it went on really, really dark, and it was just hard to see. So I dried it in between and did 2 coats of the navy blue acrylic craft paint. You can see I dried it there. It's still a little bit dark, but it was clearly blue. Now, I took this stencil that came in my monthly Magnolia craft kit. I will link the monthly kit below. And since we are sticking this stencil, it's a reusable stencil, but since we're using it on paper, we're going to definitely want to get some of that sticky off since it's a brand new stencil by using that towel, and you just go over it and over it and over it. Now it's important to kind of get these lined up the way that you want your stars to show. And I just use some chalk paste over it to put this on here. Now, you do not have to have this stencil. You do not have to even use a stencil. I thought it would be cool to paint that square white, put you some like little star stickers, you know, the little chore chart star stickers that you can find at Dollar Tree, and then paint over all of those blue and then take off the stickers and you'll have little white stars. But this was just a quick and easy solution for adding the stars here, and we peel, squeal, and reveal, which just mean hitting the heart button. I would love it if you hit the heart button and the thumbs up on this video for me over on YouTube. If you don't already subscribe, I would absolutely love it if you subscribed to this channel as well. It really helps me out. Now I took hot glue and I glued down all of the flaps of my paper sack. Don't forget, we just used a grocery sack here, and I'm just kind of showing you that we are going to add some polyfill. That's my southern coming out. It's polyfill. I can't say just fill. And it just a little goes a long ways, but I just spread it out equally throughout the grocery sack. And this is just what's going to give it a really fun, whimsical 3D effect, so that it's kind of more of a, I hate to use the word high end, but it just makes it a little, I guess, a high-end front door decor piece than just a flat paper sack. And then again, I used hot glue to seal up the end of the grocery sack here. And this was a low temp glue gun, which made it where I could touch it pretty quickly there. And then I went ahead, like I said, and glued all the other flaps all the way around. Once you have all your flaps glued all the way around, you can add any type of trim. I ended up adding a scrap piece of pillowcase that was leopard patterned on it. You'll see it at the end. You could even antique this with some dark wax. I think that would be a cute look. I added some of this floral wire to the back to hang it with, and this is how it turned out. I absolutely am in love with this. I thought it was so pretty. Again, I think if you vintaged it with a little bit of dark wax, it would look good as well. I added the, like I talked about, floral wire here. I'm just kind of showing you how it is hanging on my door. It almost looks like if you were to use fishing wire or something that you didn't see it. It's just kind of floating on my front door for all the summer patriotic holidays. I absolutely love it. If you love videos like these, you guys sit tight. I am going to share with you my most popular videos